I don't know. AI is just like has got a hold of Ferguson. It's just got like it's like he was like born again because the stuff that I get, I'm like, hey,
Well, I know why all these college kids are freaking out and booing these speakers that come to their graduations about the AIs.
Apparently not you. You're having a blast.
Like it literally reads your mind. I'm like, I get a picture from Scott. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna flip this thing pretty quick. And
I know it's coming.
I type like 3 words, and it's like when like you're playing like what was that game they used to do where you would draw it and your wife had to guess it when you were at a dinner party? Like everybody was
yeah.
You know,
like Pictionary or something.
Pictionary, yeah, and like you could just draw a straight line, and your wife and you were so connected that she was like, "Oh, that's a door," like the thing on The Simpsons.
That's a boat.
But that's what AI is like with me. It just immediately knows what I want, and I will just like. And we can't release this stuff to the public. This is like national security level shit we're talking about here right now. But it just comes
I just like taking
the
pictures. I love taking pictures that I know are going to make it into that feed. So I mean, that wedding picture was fantastic. Well, I mean, it was actually not a good thing at the moment because I was at this wedding in Wisconsin, and unfortunately my cousin's wife, her father had a little bit of like a dehydrated health episode and at the reception. So they had to bring the paramedics out there to check him out. They wound up transporting him, but thankfully he's good. They got him to the hospital and some fluids and stayed overnight and he's good. Yeah, that was, and then the police were out there, the local police. So, that's why I had to take a picture by the car.
Yeah. I thought it was just some sort of
the AI
display,
fire.
like display. It's like I was like, were they expecting trouble at this wedding? Is this guy working as an overtime detail, an extra duty, or something like that?
I was doing a ride along.
Yeah, right.
I did a ride along.
Right. Yeah.
Can we stop by the wedding?
You missed the nuptials, but you got there to object. Kind of a thing.
And then all of a sudden you pan down 2 photos and there's a hot dog roller. Like, oh, he's a guest.
Right.
Well, in Wisconsin, I think you can actually have an old fashioned in the car when you do a ride along. You can have an old fashioned with you.
Are those orange peels on the floor?
But then the whole thing is whether it's brandy or bourbon. Do you want it sweet? Do you want it sour? I mean, it's like there's so many things you have to think about. But it was fantastic. Wisconsin's beautiful. I was up. It's like up near Eau Claire. And just super nice, a very nice venue, like a cool old barn converted into a wedding venue. And they actually did a ceremony outside. So, you're always, that could be a crapshoot sometimes, but thankfully it was very nice.
Yeah, it was Ed Gein's old place, wasn't it? They've converted it to they fixed it up at the farmhouse and, where he lived. They didn't really burn it down. They just converted it.
Right.
$10,000 in a venue for
there's certain rooms you don't want to go in.
Right. It's going to add some interest to your wedding, that's for sure.
Right.
Won't stop talking
People
about
really don't want to stay in the Ed Gein wedding suite. That's weird.
Right. Anyway,
the more pictures I get from,
but on a better note. So the best part of it, well, 2 best parts, right? Because I'm a foodie. I'm like a poor man's foodie.
Yeah.
Not like a real, but 2 fantastic things combined for me meal wise at this wedding, which was dessert,
right,
which was provided through the Quick Trip gas station in town. They do a dessert spread of like all their best desserts, and it was fantastic.
Wait, Quick Trip caters?
Yes.
But
wedding, it was like brownies and these awesome donuts and some kind of Rice Krispie treat peanut butter thing. It was amazing. And it's like, I didn't know what it was going to look like. I was just waiting to see it.
Yeah.
But then I sent you guys the picture. I mean, it's a very nice presentation. I thought it was just going to be like stuff in a mountain of the boxes or something. I didn't know what it was going to be. I'm like, am I going to get an apple pie? Do I get...
But you have to go out and pump gas before you get one.
Right.
You can only eat it one-handed, and you pretend you're pumping gas.
They have a thing on the table that you can enter your rewards number.
Yeah.
So that you get... I got points for like every brownie that I ate.
Yeah. And they had the hanging chickaronis that you could get, lemon lime. Those kind of ones. It was like, wow, this is...
It was fantastic. I got to say, it was definitely different, but man, it was awesome. And then to top it off, the following day, my cousin and her new husband had like a little open house at their house, which is very close by. And when we were out the night before the wedding, he knows, some of my favorite food groups. And he says to me, like, wait till you see what we got for on Sunday. And I'm like, what? He said, my dad and my brother and I went in on an auction for a hot dog, like an industrial hot dog roller, like from the gas station. I said, no way. He goes, oh yeah, total impulse buy. Because it was so cheap. It was so cheap, but it was so cheap.
Wow.
His dad's like, this thing's crazy. It's like industrial grade. It's $150. We got to buy it.
Yeah, right. How could you not? And Scott cried at that ceremony more than he did at the wedding. That's what he was just so moved by the hot dog roll. It's crazy.
So we go over to the house the day after, and there's this thing in all its glory in the garage, just rolling dogs right there. And
you didn't know whether to be happy or angry or sad, or you didn't know. I mean, it was like
it was just so many emotions I was going through. I was still on the high of the wedding, and then just
sugar high from the
right.
QT, like
yeah.
I love the picture you sent. All it says is it's got all these sweets and stuff around this real pretty presentation. It just says Valhalla.
That was my Valhalla that night.
I was like, pace yourself.
It was amazing. I went back 3 times.
The question I had when I was looking at the hot dog roller, though, was like, Wisconsin is the land of the brat. Like, you get a great brat. Like, if you go to a Brewers game, you can go up there and get a brat. Like, you get a hot dog in Yankee Stadium or something like that. They're high quality, but can you put a brat? Is there some sort of like a protocol for that in Wisconsin? Like, you got to maybe reach out to the governor first or something like that before you throw it on there, or is this a no-go? You can never put a brat on a hot dog.
I don't know
roller.
if you can. I think the initial voyage was just with the hot dogs, just to feel it out. And I'll tell you, there was a line for that thing in the garage, and they were tasty. And my cousin even said, he goes, hey, you guys got a long drive back to Illinois. You want me to get some foil and wrap some of these up for you and take some roadies?
Yeah, like, Scott actually thought he meant wrapping up the actual hot dog roller, so Scott just started putting a tin foil around that to try to get out with it.
I had to plug it into, I have one of those power inverters in my truck.
Right.
So that it could keep running the whole time.
Right. We can make it to Delavan, I think, on this. We're gonna have to stop at the autos.
And then we gotta move them around on the roller. We gotta stop at the rest area so they don't get too burnt.
And you gotta stop at the auto zone right at the border there, just so you can get a new battery to push the thing through. Just like, we gotta make it. Just gotta plan this out.
Well, and the best thing was, I said, well, the only thing that's missing is like the pump cheese for these, not that, I mean, and so my cousin said, she's like, I actually saw like a cheese fountain type thing. I said, I'll tell you what, let me get that for you for your 1-year anniversary.
Right.
And that'll be my gift to you.
They were going to be able to get the honeymoon suite at the Dells, but instead they went with the cheese tower.
It was fantastic. It ended on such a high note. It was awesome. It was great.
Well, actually, the paramedics were there just in case anything happens.
Right.
Is that like standard procedure? It's like a boxing match. Yeah, we have to have one here at the wedding. You never know what's going to happen.
They were just down the street just in case.
Well, now we know what to get you. Now we know what to get you to celebrate for your next birthday.
It was a great time, great food,
hot dog roller,
awesome. And so, then just as we're traveling back, and I'm thinking about coming back to Illinois and seeing try to not look at the stories and the news of what's going on locally here, but this is, as soon as you're back in Illinois, there's always some kind of crazy something in the land of law enforcement and the justice system and whatever. And so the most recent is that now we've got over 200 Chicago area criminals with ankle monitors that are AWOL. So we got that.
And it takes the death of 2 policemen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one's still hanging on, but it takes that
way better. Yeah, he's been transferred to a different facility, which is nice.
It takes that to like just. And I don't know if the red there called. Okay, here we go. I'm going. It's early in the show, but I'm going. It takes this to do what's supposed to be done every day. Your ankle monitor is supposed to go off at certain times and be charged at certain times. And if you don't charge it, then you get in trouble. But there are so many excuses. Oh, well, he was just on the block, or oh, we just don't have the time, or well, if you don't have the freaking time, then put him in jail. Only to put the people on EM that you can monitor, and if it goes off, it goes beep 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 beep. That you put a warrant out for arrest, you go pick them up, you put them in jail, and you let somebody else give it a try. Like seriously, like you're putting stuff out there just to satisfy. Oh well, I put so and so on electronic monitoring, so EM, so I as the judge did my job. But oh wait, we don't have enough manpower to man it. We don't have up-to-date software. Our software is old. Oh, by the way, the ankle monitor I'm giving you doesn't even work, bro. So, good luck with that. I mean, like, it's just, it takes the death of a cop for us to go like, oh my God, we have a problem. Like, you're telling me that there's no memo that exists from the chief of the watch from the EM program going, hey, yeah, we have some real problems. And if there's none, shame on him.
Mm-hmm. And that's where this came from, was this Cook County chief judge by the name of Charles Beach. He put this report out that says approximately 8% of defendants out on electronic monitoring are, quote, actively being searched for right now. So that is of about a little over 3,000 defendants currently on electronic monitoring or pretrial release. About 244 of them are untraceable.
And with the Safety Act, that's not people that are like, oh, he was shoplifting for the
right.
30th
no.
time, or he was, he was driving on a suspended driver's license. We're talking about guys that have aggravated felonies, violent felonies that are out there that are missing right now. And again, we talked about this 1,000 times on this show. There's a very small percentage of people that commit most of the violent crimes, and they shouldn't have ankle bracelets on them to monitor where they're at. Look, oh, the system's overwhelmed. That's not bullshit. What that is they want to show that they're compassionate about these things. And, oh, that doesn't work. We can't arrest our way out of this. Look, maybe that's true. But we can arrest the right people at the right time and keep them in jail until they're held accountable for whatever it is they're going to do. Because it's insane. Because, Scott, how many times do we do hits on houses that we were doing drug cases on, and we found like an ankle bracelet without the guy? It's just like, and you'd be like, well, apparently he's really afraid of what's happening to him with this system, because not only are we doing a drug case on this dude, he's also had an ankle monitor on him that even if we reached out to somebody that said, hey, we're looking at this guy, they'd be like, okay, thanks for letting us know. Like I'm not knocking anybody that does any of that stuff that work, but it's just like it's never worked. It's never going to work. Like, if you think it's like this dog is being trained by an electronic fence when you ride by the house and you see the sign and the dog sitting in the front yard just looking at you, like, I'd be out there just tearing you up if it wasn't for that shock that I got on my neck because of that. Like, people think it's like that. Like, this thing is like, oh, there's this like big command center, like those stupid commercials, those security commercials that always have the
easy. Easy.
I'm just saying,
easy.
the guys that are always breaking into the house or look like they're white middle class college graduates. It's like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, let's be realistic about this. Like, those aren't the type of people that are going to follow ankle monitoring things like getting the break. They cut them off. They disappear. There's no accountability for it. The battery dies, and you just get a shrug from the overall system. And cops are like, well, we're getting shot now because of this kind of stuff. And it's just so aggravating. The Safety Act on top of now this didn't work before the Safety Act became law. And now even more troubled people are out on the streets not following any of that stuff.
And they don't have like specific stats on all the charges of the missing defendants. I would be willing to bet that they're probably serious charges. Like Shaun said, this isn't people for a $100 retail theft or a driving on a suspended license. This is of those numbers. The only numbers they do have, 173 of those on electronic monitoring are charged with aggravated battery, and 103 for sex assault. So, and then litany of charges all those other folks are that are MIA.
So, and then you have these politicians like Shaun just said that we can't arrest our way out of this. Bullshit. Yes, you can, because you know what? All the money that you're spending on your political bullshit and all the money that you're spending on lawsuits because you're letting these people out without consequences, and they're causing more damage, and you're paying people off that they cause more damage to, you could save all that money and you could put it back into the system. You could hire more people, you could fix your jails, and you could hold people accountable for I don't even, it drives me insane that I can't even imagine, like, what makes somebody think that they can be like, you know what? He's only committed 2 armed robberies. He's only fought 4 policemen. But, it's because, he had no dad, or that's all he knew, or that's what he was taught, or he has an anger issue, or
well, here's the thing that'll fire you up even more, Chris.
Here we go.
Alfonso Tally, the guy who shot these 2 police officers at the Swedish hospital, a 7-time convicted felon. He was on electronic monitoring, awaiting trial on a carjacking when he was taken into custody and ended up shooting these 2 police officers. He was supposed to be in at-home confinement, but his ankle monitor had stopped transmitting weeks before the shooting. And what's crazy is that this judge, it says he wouldn't necessarily call Tally's initial release a, quote, mistake. He said the judge made the best decision with what was in front of him at the time, right?
No, you didn't.
We'll go back to that concept. How do you protect what another human being is going to do? Well, no, you can't. But if this piece of shit was locked up in a jail where he belonged for his numerous prior heinous violent crimes, he wouldn't have been in a position to shoot and kill a Chicago police officer. That's what should make people mad. Don't say, well, I don't know. I mean, he's going to do what he's going to do. Well, if that's your reasoning, then he should be locked up because he's not a candidate for ankle monitoring. Does ankle monitoring have its place? Yes, it does. But not for people who are repeat violent offenders that have been given chance after chance after chance and continue to commit these kind of crimes. And now a Chicago police officer is dead and another one is still, critically injured. It's sick.
Well, I mean, the other thing to think about with the Safety Act is with this fewer people, that although people are being arrested, they're not being detained any longer, within the correction system. What kind of a burden has that placed on probation and parole, like those officers? Nobody's lining up to be a cop anymore, and we see that in the numbers that were coming through the Chicago Police Academy and many other cities in this country. Now, I'm assuming that those same numbers are impacting probation and parole, the folks that got to go out and check up on this stuff. Like, if there's that many more people out there, there's just not enough people and enough hours in the day for these people to do. And when they get there, they're like, oh, I found the ankle monitor, but nobody's attached to it, so I'm just going to take it back to the office. And again, as an officer, you're probably like completely defeated by why you got into that work. You know what I mean? You look at it and you're like, oh, this is the reality of it. These guys don't care. They don't care that they're getting a break from the system. They don't care that whatever. They're just going to continue to go out there. And also, I might be putting myself at risk by going to his house and any of those things. If they're killing cops the way that they're killing cops, I don't know. Like, I would love to have somebody from that area, Cook County Probation and Parole, come on the show and talk to us about what they're really up against, because that's got to be a factor in this. That's got to be a total factor in this. Because if we're seeing like lower numbers and harder recruiting issues, I'm sure they're seeing some of the same things, but nobody takes that into effect when they say, well, we're going to do this and we're going to incarcerate less people and we're going to no bond and we're going to do all this stuff, but we're still going to have them accountable to the system. But there's nobody to carry out what's going on. It was like some of the same things that happened during COVID. They ground everybody and said, don't go out and check on these things. You don't need to contact any of these kids, these foster kids, all of these things, these people that were in these at-risk systems that the government put in place. Particularly in California, it was really bad, where no one was allowed to go near anybody. Because it was COVID, people didn't stop abusing kids and abusing people and all these things. So that whole system lurched to a stop for a year. Do you know what can happen in a year's time?
Oh.
I mean, look what this guy did in that short period of time that shot those 2 cops in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And like, no one wants to talk about how all of these things where you don't hold people accountable, now it's rearing its ugly head. Mm-hmm. Ankle monitoring didn't work, Scott, when you and I were working together, like I said earlier. And it was only made worse by the fact that, in between that time, you had a system completely break down on behalf of the criminal.
And again, exactly. Yeah, and you're making it easier for them. So, okay, let's say facts. A lot of the guys or girls that are on electronic monitoring, they're probably not working. Okay, so why are we as taxpayers hiring people to go out and drive and find them? Now, if you're on EM and you have a valid job and you're working 40 hours a week and you're trying to make a change, great. Get in the car, go out, check them out. You're good to go. But half these other morons that aren't working, you come to my office. We don't have to have, like, you come to my office, you check in, we make sure you're charged. Like, you come to me. Why are we making it easier for you to stay out and commit your crimes, but yet, we'll chase you to check you in just so you're okay?
Yeah.
What the hell?
And I'm calling bullshit on this too, this judge, because they hit him. The topic always comes up about the cashless bail, and he, jumps right to that. It's not having any effect on this. And his, basically the summary of what he said is, well, we still had, when people were out on cash bonds, they still went out and committed other offenses. So even though we don't have that now and people are still doing it, basically there's no difference, right? Because it's still happening. And that's a bullshit argument. And here's why: because when you brought somebody in on a felony charge and they had to go to bond court to go before a judge, we've talked about this before when people make these arguments about, oh, bond is, it's racist and it hurts poor people. No, it doesn't, because what it is these are taken on a case-by-case basis. And a guy like this, he goes in on this carjacking case, and you bring him before a judge, and a judge says, okay, what's he here for? Carjacking. And states, then they say, okay, what are we looking at from the state? What's this guy's criminal history? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Well, he's got 2 other pending cases. He's got 5 felonies. He's got 4 gun charges. And guess what? That's someone who does deserve a high bond. It should be difficult for you to get out of jail on bond. And when you do have to post $10, $20, $30,000 or some crazy dollar amount, you are more likely to come back to court. And you can also violate that bond and pick up additional cases. So yes, there are built-in consequences with bringing the people before a judge, setting a bond, and then sending that person. They either sit and wait and try to beg and plead with every single, we've all seen that. Like, how many phone calls can you make, try to scratch together some money to get out?
Right.
To be fair, if those people do typically set it for an extended period of time, they can request a bond reduction. It's like, okay, you've been locked up for a month. You got a public defender or something that says, hey, listen, this guy's tried anything and everything to try to do this. Can we maybe get a little bit of a bond reduction? It's not just this system of punishment with cash bond. It's a system that is designed to have consequences for each individual person based on what, it's not just painted with a broad brush. If you're a person who, maybe it's a first time felon, you've never really ever been in trouble, you got caught with maybe some drugs or something, right? Like a felony amount of drugs. Maybe they're not going to hit you with a huge, bond. You're not a dealer or something, right? Maybe you're going to get a reasonable bond. But if you do it 3, 4, 5 more times, you're not gonna. Just like this piece of shit that shot these cops. This guy should have been sitting on $1 million bond. Like, hey, you can come up with $100,000 to post, you're welcome to get out. Otherwise, you're going to sit.
Brandon Johnson is so committed to this, when I understand, as an austerity measure, because he's trying to balance the budget and save some money for the city. He's actually so committed to this that he's actually created a ankle monitoring turn-in program to drive down incarceration rates, but at the same time get the money back for these ankle monitors that we're putting on people.
It's that same thing like in the mall that you can trade in an iPhone. You just drop an ankle monitor in it and you get $10.
You get your quarterback from the Aldi shopping cart kind of a thing. That's the same kind of theory. That's where he got that model from. It's ridiculous. I mean,
it is.
Listen, I mean, how much more can we point to that this stuff doesn't work? Look, man, I'm sorry, like, we're humans. Humans don't learn unless we're held accountable in some way, shape, or form. Like, look, we're all sinners. We're all fallen. I say it all the time.
Right.
The bottom line is like, how long do you go before you're held accountable for what you're doing? And the longer it goes, and the less likely you're going to be held accountable for it. poor people are really truly affected by this. You said earlier that it only affects poor people. Yeah, it does. It does affect poor people. When there's no bond, the poor people are the ones that suffer the most, because those are the neighborhoods that those criminals go back to and prey upon. You know what I mean? There's crime elsewhere, don't get me wrong, but where it's felt by people every single day. That's why people in those neighborhoods want to see police and the criminal justice process more robust to 70 to 80% levels when they interview these folks, no matter what city they're in, no matter what color their skin are, where they're living, because they're preyed upon worse under these circumstances. But you got these judges and politicians and things like that that are getting money thrown at them left and right by people that don't live in those neighborhoods, that don't deal with any of the impacts of these crimes directly.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they did, they'd just get up and leave, like they're doing all over the country. They're leaving Illinois on grand scales, in California and New York. I live in a city right now that's seeing an influx of people on a level that you meet people and it's like nobody's from Charleston.
Right.
Like the oldest city in America, one of the oldest cities in America. Like where we worked, you could understand what people are like. I was never originally from Naperville because I was never originally from the town that we worked in, because basically it was farm field prior to that. So you could understand why people eventually came there. But everybody's leaving those areas because none of this stuff works. It's bullshit. I mean, these excuses they come up with, there's another glaring example every single week that we can talk about on this show.
And then and then when you get to death row, you get an iPad to watch porn now, because you're going to die.
I'm turning my ankle monitor to get free porn in California.
I mean,
stay in prison?
No kid. That was my exact. That was you stole my thunder. But that was my exact. What's the incentive to stay out of prison? Listen, you don't have to hit anybody bitching. You get your own room. You get 3 hots and a cot and a color iPad to watch porn.
I think that's actually, like, now that we're in this story that we're referencing here is about California. Of course, we'll make the jump across the country from Chicago. I think really because they do the ankle monitors because they don't want to buy the iPads for Cook County Jail, because they looked at the cost.
We can't afford Brazer's monthly subscription for all the for all the death row inmates.
Yeah, well, they're developing technology that you can actually watch porn on the ankle monitor. The tech industry out there is so great.
It's a hotspot. It's a porn hotspot that you wear on your ankle.
Flexibility.
Because now,
hey, bro, what's your password?
Because apparently, then this is Gavin Newsom getting some heat out there because
such a fucking idiot.
In California, death row. The headline is death row inmates, but a lot of prisoners out there. Apparently, they had this massive, multi-million-dollar program. Actually, $189 million contract to provide digital tablets, flat screen devices to every inmate in the state at no cost to them. And, they sold it as this, well, we want them to, watch Sesame Street or something and get smarter. And, Hey, Bert. So and
they changed the uniforms to the Bert and Ernie sweaters.
It said that the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation said the tablets were, this is their quote, tightly controlled education tools that provided inmates with access to the Bible, education, and re-entry. Re-entry resources.
He said re-entry.
That actually reduce crime. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm sure we all thought that everybody was going to get a preloaded Bible iPad, and it streams nothing but Joel Osteen.
Mm-hmm. And and again, in our world, we have computers that we take out to cars with us every single day. And in order to do what we got to do, there is no human way you can get past the firewall to look at porn in your car. You may be able to do it on your personal phone if you're so weird as a cop, but on any device that the state has given us to use to do our job, you cannot get past it. But somehow, some way, they didn't figure that out, how to keep prisoners from looking at pornography.
Right. I was a firearms instructor, and I had to get special permission to go on firearm websites to look for parts and stuff like that. Right. Like, it had to go to like 50 people.
You were automatically blocked. It's almost like Pornhub lobby so hard to have this happen that they paid people to go, yeah, we'll just, you don't need to worry about the firewall. We've got age verification in place, because that works too.
Yeah, you gotta send your ID.
Right. And it's just like it doesn't even shock you anymore. It's almost like funny because you like if you were to write
they get 100 IDs. It's the same one. Yeah, they just pass around cell block D.
They interviewed one guy that says, I like to mix it up. I have some wholesome stuff. I like to have pictures of my family that I look at that when we were at the beach, and then I like to look at porn. And I was like, okay. Like, I mean, look, this isn't like your house. Like, I understand that people can fall slave to that and, graven images and things like that. But the bottom line is like, you're locked up and you were commuted from a death sentence because of the governor. And
right.
They're giving you tablets.
And a sock.
Pornography. No one, like, everybody knows that porn is now so easy to access. Like, when you were younger and you wanted to get porn, you had to go down to like 7-Eleven and be like, my grandfather's disabled. He
needs a hustler.
I fought in Vietnam. Can I get a hustler for him? And the guy would be like, whatever, kid, here. You know what I mean? And you'd walk out of there with a magazine, but you had to shame yourself in the process. Like, you were like, it was very like whatever.
There was no shame. It was just here to come up with the best story.
A guy told me that story. I never did anything like that.
And now here they are just curling up with some toilet jail apple wine and an iPad full of porn.
Right.
For a nice Friday night. And now this is disturbing.
Hey, Biggie, you bring the candle. Biggie, you bring the candle.
Now this guy, and they said, part of the findings of this was, that the potential for abuse is glaring, which, I mean, obviously.
No way.
This one particular inmate, this guy, last name Diaz, convicted of committing sex crimes against a 12-year-old, allegedly used his prison-issued tablet to contact and exploit his victim from inside the prison. I mean, what in the actual fuck?
Like that's what we're talking about. Like, just pornography alone is the objectification of people. Like, it's the abuse of human beings, things like that. It's the abuse of yourself, for that matter. But the bottom line is, like, now we're contacting actual victims. The criminal is actually
you're committing crimes with a state-issued iPad.
Right.
I mean, like, are you like no one thought this through, or they did and they just didn't care. I mean,
but that's what they're coming to, Shaun. I don't think they fucking care.
Are people that we are electing that stupid? It's only a reflection of how stupid we are. I'm sorry. We just got to say it like it is. People don't pay attention enough to this stuff. Like, why was there a press release on this? Like, inmates getting iPads to look at the Bible. As secular as California is how much it wants nothing to do with God. That was the tagline. Like, we're going to let them get access to the Bible.
Okay, then you give them the Bible, but you don't give them cellular or Wi-Fi. There's your Bible.
I did like the one guy's end around because they said, they found ways to get around, the streaming. So he was doing FaceTime calls, I guess, with like a girlfriend or family member or something. And then he just asked them to put porn on the TV and they just held the iPad at the TV.
Hey, Mom, I know this is going to be kind of weird, but I'm away for a long time. Could you do me a favor? Could you put on Naughty Nurses 3 and turn the camera around for me just for 5 minutes?
Just for 5 minutes.
And put 20 on my commissary? Fuck.
This, in all seriousness, it's so laughable and we make so many jokes about it and it's so easily mocked because it is so absolutely foolish and wasting of money. I mean, like someone should be charged with a crime for the amount of incompetency that comes along with this. I mean, the taxpayers
absolutely
should be furious. The fact that you had someone who was able to victimize a young girl via his state-issued iPad. Like, what the fuck do inmates need iPads for, right? You go down to the library or whatever they have in there where you go down. Yeah, maybe there's computers you can access. We all hear about like inmates getting education and inmates getting law degrees. Like, those things are available to them. But this is just, it's so asinine and it's made out to be like we're being unfair to them because they don't have access to it. Hey, asshole, you committed 5 armed robberies and now you're going to live in prison for 8 years. You don't get an iPad. You can have one when you get out.
Right.
You can go down to the whatever technology room and use the whatever old ass Texas Instruments computer.
Commodore 64.
Yeah.
And here's your 4 floppies.
No, it was a speak and spell. is what they're using in there. Just these guys out.
Hey.
Right.
Yeah, and it's dial-up. It's dial-up.
Right. Wow. You know what would really work to keep these guys from being preoccupied with porn? Actually making them go out and work. Like
I've said that million
everything old
times.
is new again. You know what I mean? We're going to give them all these luxuries that they get for being like hardened criminals. How about we go back to like literally hard labor, like busting rocks?
Garbage.
Yeah, or building that fucking high-speed rail or something like that. You know what I mean? These guys aren't skilled laborers like that. But I mean, like, I'm sure there's plenty of things we could do to. But we can't. Because it's like it's whatever.
These iPads would have paid for 1 mile of track.
Right. Exactly. right. It would have paid for the committee to discuss the 1 mile of the track. That's what it would have been.
I don't know. It's unbelievable. It's just I would just want to be sitting in a room and going, okay, who voted that this is a good idea, and I want to know what their arguments are. And you're going to tell me in a room full of professional people and politicians, nobody said, hey, are we 100% sure that they don't have access to the outside, that we're just going to give them the Bible and then, they get a book a week that'll be downloaded for them, but they have zero access? Yeah, nobody asked that freaking question.
You're watching Davy and Goliath reruns on that thing. I mean, who the fuck thought that this was a good idea? Like,
I know.
No one questioned any of it. And let's just remove access to pornography. Let's say maybe they were part of a terrorist network. Maybe they were looking at ways that they could harm people, hurt people when they get out. Maybe they're looking at all of these things. Like, how much of a firewall is established to say this is an authorized website you can go on and then nothing else is there? And if you try it, you're automatically blocked. Did anybody try any of that stuff? And then I'm going to do a FaceTime call. You don't get to do a FaceTime call. That's what those phones on in the jailhouse are for. You got to sit there and the guards watching you talk to each other through a plate glass window. I mean, it's like, what has gone wrong?
But if you can do that, then you can get maybe the plans to the jail. I don't know. Maybe you can override the electronic system to open your own door. Like, if you can access the outside behind a firewall, if you're that guy that's, you're a criminal, but you're that smart, what's going to stop you from doing the rest of that stuff? And nobody thought of this? Like, fuck, come on.
Well, I think they overturned the initial plan was that for every 55 minutes of Bible study, you get 5 minutes of porn.
Like old school, like, David level stuff. You got to read the David stuff, like when he adored that woman from the rooftop and, then sent her husband to battle to die, that kind of stuff. Those kind of David, they're all checking on David.
It's disturbing because the porn is tied to the message. It's weird.
Right. And now there's a pornographic image of it. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I'm going straight to hell.
Yeah, this is bad.
Anyway,
we take that all back.
I'll edit that. It'd be gone.
Oh, I just don't. I don't get it. I really, really don't get it. I don't understand. I just I can't believe that in a room full of adults, nobody's going to make these logical decisions or ask the logical questions. I just don't get it. I don't get it. So anyway, I mean, I say, we just go back to talking about the hot dog roller. It's much more fun. Let's get something.
That was way fun. Way less harmful.
Scott's blood sugar. I think that's a little bit more fun of a topic than this stuff. But
I can't. There's some HIPAA violations there. I don't want to talk about.
Yeah. Right.
Everybody will think you should. Well, on a quick note, did you see that thing that I sent you from New York, from that pension?
Oh God!
That they wanted to freeze it and put the money elsewhere. We'll talk about that in the next show.
Yeah, because that really worked well in Illinois. Look what we're doing with that. That was a great idea back in the '90s when the economy was banging. You know what I mean? And we'll pay it out later. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
That's a whole other show.
And the checks in the mail. But anyway. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to the show. And please go to where you get your podcasts, leave a rating, review, download, subscribe. Please tell all your friends to do the same. We truly appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to our show. We are really trying to get the word out to the world in a funny way and in a serious way to try and make this world a better place, to get people to think about what could happen to the world. You got to go out and vote, and you got to pay attention, and you got to do what's right. And also, you can leave us an email, 3copstalk@gmail.com. If you have a question, comment, concern, idea for the show, want to be a guest, maybe have a suggestion for a guest, please leave us an email. You can go to our website too, 3copstalk.com. You can get old episodes there, and you can leave us an email there. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening, and have a blessed day.